I failed at being a streamer. Genuinely. I failed at it. Before I get into what I mean by that, I just want to quickly take a second to thank every single one of you who has watched this channel over the last 5 years. That's crazy for me to say, but yeah, 5 years. That's bananas. I've said it time and time again, I never thought I'd have 10 subscribers, let alone 25,000 almost. No, this is not me wrapping up the channel. I just don't feel like I say that enough to genuinely like convey how thankful I am for those of you who have watched these videos over the past while, and the stream and everything. It genuinely has changed my life, and I know a lot of YouTubers and creators say that, but like it really has. It really genuinely has, and maybe some of that will become clear in this video. Today's video is going to be all about the biggest lessons I have learned being a streamer, be that just general content stuff or actual life lessons that I have applied to my life and how I live my life going forward. If I haven't done the whole hook thing and got you grasped in straight away into this video, I'm sorry. I'm old and tired. If you've been a streamer for a while, or if you're considering being a streamer, or you're just starting out as a streamer, I urge you to watch this video because I think it will put a lot of things in perspective. I've got notes on this one, which is rare for me. There's a lot of kind of negative points in this video, but there's also a lot of positives as well. So if it starts off negative straight away, I'm sorry. All right, let's get into this. People are going to take advantage of you. What I mean by that is there is always someone out there, no matter how big or no matter how small you are or whatever, who will seem like they're offering you the best thing in the world, and they really don't give a fuck about you. Now, I'm not just talking about scammers or people that are trying to make a buck off you. I'm talking about people that will genuinely present themselves as a friend and promise you the world, or spin you a yarn about how great they are and how, you know, they can make you the biggest thing on the planet, when really they just want to use you, or for whatever reason, to further their own agenda. I've seen this time and time again. I have met people in the early days who, you know, offered to buy me PCs and fund all these things, and, you know, you're going to be amazing and I want to get in on the bottom floor and blah, 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 who then kind of ended up just vanishing into thin air when they didn't get what they wanted. I've also met so many amazing people through Twitch who like chatted to me on Discord all the time and wanted to hang out and all this kind of thing. And not to sound egotistical, but eventually then would bring up like, hey, do you want to do a collab, or do you want to do a co-stream? And if I said no, I cannot tell you how many times I have just never heard from those people again. However, the weeks previous, they're blowing up the Twitch chat, they're blowing up the Discord, and the minute you don't necessarily reciprocate what they're asking for straight away, you never hear from them again. They're gone from Twitch chat, they're gone from your life. Someone that you thought was a great friend. And now, as a result, I'm quite weary of people I meet on the internet. It takes a while for me to kind of open up to people. And that kind of sucks, but that's the reality of being a creator. Like, a lot of the time, it's very easy to kind of know who's just trying to use you for whatever their own agenda is, and who actually is just a genuine person that fucks with you and your personality. It's pretty easy to know sometimes, but sometimes it's not. And, you know, what I would say is, obviously, there's so many amazing people on Twitch. However, there's also just a lot of people that kind of want to just use you as a stepping stone. So just be wary of that. Next, not everybody sucks. I have met pretty much all of my closest friends through Twitch or through the internet or through gaming.
What are you lying next to me? 7 turtles and are on my back. 7 turtles, we're not coming back.
Honestly, for every asshat, there is like 5 or 6 amazing people, and the people I talk to literally nearly every single day of my life are all people I've either met through streaming or content creation or just playing games in general. People from all over the world who I just are my closest friends, who I confide in all the time, who are there for me when I need them. And that's all thanks to Twitch and content and YouTube. So not everybody sucks. So whilst keeping your guard up, you're gonna meet some amazing, amazing people. Next, it's fucking hard. Now, I know this whole like 9 to 5 argument is completely drawn out. I'm not gonna get into that, and I would never in a million years compare creating content to working a 9 to 5, say, office job or let's say retail position. You just can't do it. It's like trying to compare being a lifeguard to being a lumberjack. It's just not the same thing. I would never say one is harder than the other. I would never say one is easier than the other. The reality is they're just different things. I've worked nearly every job under the sun, everything from selling plants to working in a computer store to working in a comic store to working in a bar. What other weird jobs have I had? Oh, I sold gravel for a while, actually. Anyway, point is, I've worked a load of different jobs I've worked in advertising agencies, I've worked in PR agencies, I've worked in the video game industry. The point is, every single one of those jobs has been really hard in its own way and completely manageable in its own way. So in my opinion, you just can't compare streaming or creating content is a harder job than XYZ. It's just different. So let's get that out of the way first. But what I will say is, from all the jobs I have had, creating content, especially solo, high parts of this job, if you will, when I was doing it full time, have been like the best I've ever felt in any of my working positions ever. However, the hard parts and the lows have been the hardest part of my working career. But bar that one fucking asshole that I worked for, I hate that guy. Dude, you were an asshat. Anyway, back on point. Sometimes when you're working a shitty job, you have people next to you at your desk, or you've got colleagues, right, that are kind of going through that bullshit with you. Whereas, although you do have colleagues and you have friends as a streamer, like people you know and other creators, you don't really have somebody right beside you that that is going through exactly the same thing that you're going through at the same time that you're going through it. So you do feel very isolated at times. It's very stressful at times, especially when you're doing it full time, because you're like, am I going to hit my sub goal for this month? Am I going to be able to pay rent and all those kind of things? Now, if you're asking yourself those questions, you probably shouldn't be full time anyway. But you know what I mean. I've worked on my own before, but never to that extent where you're the social media person, you're the producer, you're the director, you're the editor, you're everything all at once. And if you're sick or if you can't go to work, sorry, there's no sick pay. There's no holiday pay. There's no annual leave. So it is difficult and it does weigh on you. And that's part of the reason why I stopped doing it. And we'll get to that later. If you do choose to go down this path as more than just a hobby, you will face some pretty hard times. Some amazing times, but also some pretty hard times, like most jobs. I think the point is a lot of people just think you're going to be playing video games all day, when anyone who's done this full time will tell you that that's kind of 10% of what you end up doing. Gonna just kind of match the doom and gloom with another good point. In my last point, I said you're the social media manager, you're the editor, you're the director, whatever. That is true. By doing this and by doing this for a long period of time and bettering your skill set and growing your skill set, you are gaining actual real world experience. I know people are going to come for me in the comments with this, but hear me out for a second. You are gaining genuine skills that are absolutely applicable to the world in this day and age. If you're a content creator who's talking on camera and making videos and telling stories and being entertaining and all that stuff, you've now gained public speaking skills. You've gained presentation skills. If you're editing your own videos on, say, TikTok or YouTube, you've gained video editing skills, probably to a fairly high level. If you're making a strategy on how you're going to launch them on YouTube and short form platforms like YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, blah, 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 you've now gained social media strategy skills. If you're working with sponsors or you're meeting people in the industry at things like TwitchCon or whatever, you've networked, you have contacts in the industry. The reason I got out of content full time is because I was offered a job by one of the sponsors that I had worked with that ended up being my foot in the door into the gaming industry, which I now work in full time. I worked in a couple of different companies over the last few years, everything from tech startups in the gaming space, all the way to working with an actual developer that was developing a game. And I've now since started my own creative agency that is making content and doing social media and everything else under the sun for game developers and brands. And we are working on some really, really sick games already, which is dope. I would never have done any of that or learned half of those skills had it not been from being a content creator. I never would have made the connections that got me to that place. I'm not trying to sound egotistical, but what I'm trying to say is you're learning stuff, gaining skills, you're gaining valuable experience that should not be overlooked should you decide to maybe hang up the content hat and look for a position in that space. Doesn't have to be gaming, could be, for brands or whatever. Now you know a lot of cool shit that you wouldn't have maybe learned if it wasn't for this. And not to say that you have to just quit to do any of that. You could do it alongside it. Like, I still stream and make content and I'm working full time. However, point is, you're now dope at a load of cool shit. Well done you. Comparisons will kill you. Do not compare yourself to other streamers. Somebody that maybe started as the same time as you, or a friend you have, and maybe they're growing faster than you, or they're gaining more viewers, or they're gaining more followers, or they've been rated by somebody big, and you haven't, and you're still stuck down at 1 or 2 viewers, and you're wondering why nobody is watching you, and you're wondering why everyone's watching them when you're playing the same game, you're just as funny as them, you're just as entertaining. Don't worry about it. Ignore them. Do not watch them. I mean, they're your friends, so I mean, like, don't ignore them, but just tune out what they're doing. That is so much easier said than done, but I promise you that if you consistently compare yourself to other streamers, it's a recipe for disaster. You will not just arrive at the conclusion as to why this is happening. You're just going to drive yourself crazy trying to figure out what they have that you don't, and ultimately you're going to end up resenting that person who was probably a good friend to you in the past. It's really hard to do, but try not to do it. They had a little bit of an early pop-off maybe. You're going to have yours eventually, hopefully. Fingers crossed. I'll keep this next one brief. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. I made a video about scams a while ago, and at the end of that video, I put my email address in it, and I asked people to email me if they think they're being scammed. And the amount of emails I got of people promising them like the world, that they pay this much money and blah, 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 and I can get your partner in a month, da, 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 da. There is no such, it's cliched, but there is no such thing as a free lunch. If somebody is promising you something early on Twitch, be it a fast track to affiliate or a fast track to partner or X amount of followers by this date, trust me when I say, please heed this. It's not fucking true. There is a myriad of people on Twitch who just want to prey on the enthusiasm of new streamers that are just trying to do anything they can to kind of break the mold and get their first few viewers. Please listen to me when I say, no matter how real it sounds, no matter how legit the person is that's offering you this wonder miracle solution to like getting big on Twitch straight away, it's not real. I'm so sorry, but there's no shortcuts in this. Just keep doing what you're doing. You'll be fine. At the start of this video, I said I failed at being a streamer. I mean that in some ways and I don't mean it in other ways. When I set out to do this, I had just lost my job, and it was a means for me to keep busy during a fucking weird time in the world. And as I said, I never thought 5 people would watch me, let alone how many people are on this channel or on my Twitch channel. That to me, where I've landed at now with my content, be it Twitch, YouTube, everything else, is so cool to me. I'm forever proud of everything that has happened in my content journey. And that to me is absolutely not in anywhere close to a failure. I never cared if one person watched me. I never cared how many people there were. I never cared how many followers or subscribers or viewers, whatever. I just liked doing it. And that is the reason I did it. The fact that I've managed to somehow have this platform where I can talk to you all wonderful people and tell you about these things that I learned along my way is not in any way a failure to me. And I think that's awesome. And again, I thank you so much. My life has changed completely from doing this. I was working in a job I absolutely hated. I was miserable every day. And now I wake up excited to go to work and work on games and things I love, which is just awesome. And I forever will be in all of your debt for putting me in that position by watching these videos and watching my stream. So thank you so much, really, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. But when I say I failed at streaming, you know, I failed at becoming a massive, huge 20,000 viewer content creator. But I think the moral of this video is I'm really glad I didn't, because for the first time in a long time, I'm really fucking happy. And I don't think I'd change anything. I don't think if I could go back and do something different or go back and, you know, not play that game or not do that stream or not make that video. Nah, I'm pretty content at what I am. I may have failed at being the big guy, but I'm pretty happy being just X2 Shoes who makes these videos when I can, because I enjoy doing them. And hopefully you enjoy watching them. And I'm going to keep doing that as long as I can. I love you all very much. Much love. Peace out. Bye-bye.